Behind these locked doors, past rusted gates and crumbling hallways, lie stories few dare to remember, stories of sorrow, silence, and the shadows of those who were forgotten. These asylums, once bustling with life and activity, now stand as silent witnesses to a bygone era. Tonight we walk the thin line between history and the haunting as we explore the chilling legacy of abandoned asylums. These structures, often isolated from the rest of society, were meant to be places of healing but became prisons of despair. There's something irresistible about these places. Maybe it's the isolation, the way nature slowly reclaims the walls, vines curling over shattered windows like skeletal fingers. The passage of time has turned these buildings into eerie monuments of neglect. Or maybe it's what lingers inside. Whispers that never left. Shadows that stretch just a little too long. The very air seems thick with the memories of those who once walked these halls. These weren't just hospitals, they were prisons for the mind. Places where hope went to die, and screams were lost in the darkness. The treatments administered here were often as harrowing as the conditions they were meant to cure. We're going to confront the residual energy of these lost souls. We're going to hear their stories, feel their pain, and try to understand what happened within these walls. Each room, each corridor holds a fragment of a story waiting to be uncovered. This isn't just about ghost hunting, this is about bearing witness to the forgotten. This is about respecting the stories that need to be told. The documents and artifacts left behind offer a glimpse into the lives of those who were confined here. And trust me, when you're standing in a hallway where something dark still watches, you'll feel it too. The sense of being watched, the cold shiver down your spine, it's all part of the experience. You can't escape the feeling that you're not alone, that something else is present. The spirits of the past seem to linger, waiting for someone to acknowledge their existence. We're not just talking about spooky stories here, we're talking about real people. People who were forgotten, abandoned, and subjected to unimaginable horrors. Back then, mental illness was misunderstood, feared. Society didn't know how to handle it. These asylums, created with good intentions, became overcrowded, understaffed, and eventually, inhumane. The lack of resources led to neglect and abuse. Imagine the despair, the stench of disinfectant mixed with fear, the silence, broken only by muffled sobs and the distant echoes of screams. The atmosphere was suffocating. The horror wasn't just in the silence, but in the treatments. Electroconvulsive therapy without anesthesia. Patients were subjected to excruciating pain. Ice baths to cool mental disorders. These methods were primitive and brutal. Physical restraints, isolation rooms, and worst of all, lobotomies. These were not solutions, but acts of desperation. These weren't treatments, they were torture. The patients suffered immensely. And the energy of that suffering, it doesn't just disappear, it seeps into the walls, into the very foundation of these places. The pain and anguish are palpable, and believe me, it's ready to reach out and grab you. The past is never truly gone. Let's talk about the places themselves. These aren't just urban legends. They're real locations with documented histories of pain and the paranormal. Places where the veil between our world and the other side is thin, almost translucent. We're talking about massive structures, often built on sprawling grounds, designed to hold hundreds, sometimes thousands of patients. But these weren't just buildings, they were ecosystems of sorrow. Places where despair festered in the shadows, and hope withered under the weight of confinement. You can still feel it, that heaviness in the air. It's like the walls themselves are trying to tell you a story whispered in the rustle of dead leaves and the creak of rusted swing sets. These places have witnessed unimaginable things, from the cries of the mentally ill to the experiments conducted in the name of science. And the energy left behind, it's not going anywhere. It lingers, a silent testament to the lives that were once confined within these walls. Guys, we're diving deep into the heart of Appalachia, a place where history whispers on the wind and shadows hold secrets. The Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. Just saying the name sends chills down my spine. This place was supposed to be different. Built in the 1800s, it was designed as a sanctuary for the mentally ill, a place of compassion and care. But like so many of these asylums, good intentions only paved the road to a living hell. The initial promise of healing quickly turned into a grim reality. Overcrowding, understaffing, and a lack of understanding about mental illness turned this supposed haven into a nightmare. By the mid-20th century, it housed nearly 10 times its intended capacity. Imagine the suffering within these walls, the cries for help echoing through the halls. The energy here is palpable, heavy with the weight of despair. You can practically feel the torment that unfolded here, the broken dreams of those who sought refuge, the anguish of those trapped within these walls. This is where our investigation truly begins, as we uncover the haunting histories and the stories of those who were left behind. Next, we're heading to Danvers State Hospital in Massachusetts. This place is infamous, a chilling testament to the darkest chapters of psychiatric history. Some say it even inspired H.P. Lovecraft's Arkham Asylum. And trust me, that's not a comparison you want to hear. Built in the late 1800s, Danvers was designed with these long, sprawling wings, meant to minimize contact between patients. The idea was to create a sense of order, but it backfired spectacularly. Instead of order, the isolation bred chaos. Patients deteriorated within those walls, their cries for help swallowed by the silence. The very architecture seemed to amplify their suffering, creating an environment of utter despair. And the stories that came out of Danvers, they'll chill you to the bone. Unexplained noises, shadowy figures lurking in the corridors, and a pervasive sense of dread that clung to anyone who dared to enter. The hospital was also notorious for its controversial treatments, including lobotomies and electroshock therapy, which only added to the suffering. Records show that many patients were subjected to these brutal procedures, often without their consent. Today, paranormal investigators and thrill-seekers visit Danvers, hoping to catch a glimpse of the supernatural. Many report eerie sounds, ghostly apparitions, and a feeling of being watched, as if the spirits of the past still linger. Danvers State Hospital remains a haunting reminder of a time when mental illness was misunderstood and mistreated, its legacy forever etched in the annals of psychiatric history. We're heading deep into the South to a place shrouded in as much sorrow as it is Mystery Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Kentucky. Originally built to combat the terrifying spread of tuberculosis, this place became a beacon of hope, a last resort for those battling the White Plague. Tuberculosis, often referred to as the White Plague, was a deadly disease that claimed countless lives in the early 20th century. But as time went on, the darkness crept in. The once bustling sanatorium began to see more deaths than recoveries, and the hope that once filled its halls started to fade. Waverly transitioned into a mental institution, and the stories, the energy, it shifted. The facility, now housing the mentally ill, became a place of whispers and shadows. The despair of those lost to tuberculosis seemed to linger, mixing with the torment of the mentally ill, creating this oppressive, heavy presence. Patients reported hearing voices and seeing apparitions, adding to the eerie atmosphere. It's like the walls themselves absorbed the suffering. The very fabric of the building seemed to hold on to the pain and anguish of its past inhabitants. You can feel it in the air, in the peeling paint, in the rusted medical equipment left behind. Every corner of Waverly Hills tells a story of its tragic history. It's a sobering reminder that this place was once a living, breathing community. And now it's a shell haunted by its past. The echoes of its history still resonate, making Waverly Hills a poignant symbol of both hope and despair. So, why are these abandoned asylums such paranormal hotspots? What makes them so uniquely eerie and filled with unexplained phenomena? Is it just the creepy atmosphere, the peeling paint and rusty equipment? Or is there something more sinister lurking in the shadows? Or is there something more, something deeper at play? Could it be the very essence of the past, imprinted on the walls and floors? See, I believe that extreme emotional energy, especially trauma and suffering, can leave a residue. This energy can cling to places, creating a palpable sense of unease. It's like an echo, a psychic imprint that lingers long after the physical body is gone. These echoes can manifest as apparitions, sounds, or even feelings. And in these asylums, the trauma was off the charts. The suffering was immense, and the energy left behind is almost tangible. Imagine the anguish, the fear, the desperation of the patients, Many were subjected to inhumane treatments and lived in constant fear. Imagine the helplessness of the staff, overwhelmed and ill-equipped to deal with the sheer number of people in their care. The emotional toll on everyone involved was enormous. All that energy, it had to go somewhere, right? It didn't just disappear, it became part of the very fabric of the building. Now, I've worked with a lot of psychics over the years, and they often describe these asylums as being like thin spots, places where the veil between our world and the next is worn paper thin. These thin spots make it easier for spirits to make their presence known. They say the energy of the departed is so thick, so potent, that it's easier for them to break through and make contact. This energy can be overwhelming, even for seasoned investigators. And it's not just about seeing apparitions or hearing voices. It's about feeling. The energy can affect your emotions, making you feel what the spirits felt. Psychics have described feeling intense waves of sadness, anger, and even physical pain in these places. It's as if they're experiencing the residual suffering of those who came before. It's like they're tapping into the residual suffering of those who came before. This can be a harrowing experience even for those accustomed to dealing with the paranormal. And let me tell you, when a seasoned psychic tells you they feel uneasy, that a place is heavy, you listen. Their sensitivity to these energies can provide valuable insights into the nature of the hauntings, because they're not just picking up on the history, they're feeling the raw, untamed energy of the other side. This energy can be both fascinating and terrifying. Some paranormal investigators believe that these abandoned asylums, with their history of trauma and death, might actually act as portals to the other side. These portals can be gateways for spirits to enter our world. Think about it. You've got all this residual energy, all this emotional turmoil, swirling around in a confined space. It's a perfect storm for paranormal activity. It's like opening a door between dimensions, a gateway that allows spirits to more easily cross over. Once the door is open, it can be difficult to close. And once they're here, they're trapped, unable to move on, drawn to the familiar energy of the asylum. This can lead to repeated hauntings and intense paranormal encounters. This might explain why so many paranormal encounters in these places are so intense, so visceral. The energy is raw and unfiltered, making the experiences more powerful. It's not just a haunting, it's a direct line to the other side, a glimpse into a realm beyond our understanding. These asylums are more than just buildings, they're gateways to the unknown. You know, exploring these abandoned asylums, it's not just about ghost hunting, about chasing shadows and chills. It's about understanding the stories that these walls hold. It's about bearing witness to a dark chapter in history, a time when mental illness was misunderstood and feared. These weren't just patients, they were people, sons and daughters, mothers and fathers who were often abandoned by their families and society. Veterans who had seen too much, carrying the weight of their experiences, artists who felt too deeply, whose creativity was often mistaken for madness. They deserved compassion, but instead they were hidden away, forgotten by society, left to languish in these institutions. So, when we walk through these decaying halls, we are stepping into the past, into the lives of those who were left behind. We're not just looking for evidence of the paranormal, we're seeking to understand the human stories that unfolded here. We're remembering the forgotten souls who suffered here, honoring their stories and making sure their voices are heard. These documents and records are a testament to their existence. What we've experienced in these asylums stays with us long after the cameras stop rolling. The emotions, the stories, they linger. It's a stark reminder of the fragility of the human mind and the consequences of neglect, and the importance of compassion. We must learn from the past to create a more understanding future. Next time you think about mental health, remember the faces you've seen, the stories you've heard. Let's work together to ensure that history never repeats itself. These images serve as a powerful reminder. If this journey into the darkness has moved you, hit that like button and subscribe to keep exploring the unknown with me. And tell me in the comments, what part of this exploration chilled you to the bone? Let's keep the conversation going. Together we can shed light on these forgotten stories and ensure they are never forgotten again. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Until next time, stay curious and compassionate. Let's keep the conversation going.